न प्रजया धनेन त्यागैनैके अमृतत्वमानसुः परेण नाकं निहितं गुहायां विभ्राजते दज्यतयो विशन्ति वेदान्तविज्ञानसुनिश्चितार्था संन्यासयोगात् यतयः शुद्धसत्त्वाः ते ब्रह्मलोके तु परान्तकाले परामृतात् परिमुच्यन्ति सर्वे दक्षं विपापं परमे स्वभूतं पुण्डरीकं पुरमध्यसर्गस्थं तत्रापि दक्ष्णं गगनं विशोकस्तस्मिन् यदं तस्तदुपासितव्यं यो वेदादौ स्वरप्रोक्तो वेदान्ते च प्रतिष्ठितः तस्य प्रकृतिलीनस्य यः परस्वमहेश्वरः न तत्र सूर्यो भाति न चन्द्रतारकं नेमा विद्युतो भान्ति कुतोऽयमग्निः तमेव भान्तमनुभाति सर्वं तस्य भासा सर्वमिदं विभाति। ओम हर हर नमः पार्वतीपतये हर हर महादेव। श्री सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय। Let's do 3 Oms and Sahanavad Guru Stotram. So, सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। गुरुस्तोत्रम। अखंडमंडलाकारं व्याप्तं येन चराचरं तत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुर्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। स्थावरं जङ्गमं व्याप्तं यत्किञ्चित् सचराचरं तत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। चिन्मयं व्यापि यत्सर्वं त्रैलोक्यं सचराचरं तत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। त्वमेव माता च पिता त्वमेव त्वमेव बन्धुश्च सखा त्वमेव त्वमेव विद्या द्रविडं त्वमेव त्वमेव सर्वं मम देव देव त्वमेव सर्वं गुरुदेव देव। Hari Om. We are doing the second volley of Kathopanishad. where Yamadharmaraja started teaching to Nachiketas after testing that Nachiketas has the requisite mumutshutvam and vairagyam. Mumutshutvam because he doesn't want anything else other than this, and vairagyam because even though he has offered so many things of pleasures in this world and the world after, he rejected all of them, saying that they are all kshanikam only, they are anityam, and what he wants is that which takes him beyond the changes, that which is therefore eternal, and that knowledge alone he wants. So having tested the student that he is adhikari or qualified student, and as qualified student asks for the knowledge, then it becomes a duty of the teacher to teach. And before he starts teaching, he is glorifying, the Yamadharmaraja glorifying the teaching itself, and he glorifies the student, how great he is, and the knowledge itself. All are glorified first before he starts the teaching. So we are at the 7th sloka. We started last time. Let's repeat after me. Sravana yapi bahubhiryo. Sravana yapi bahubhiryo. Nalab. So let's start again. Sravana yapi bahubhiryo nalabhyaha. Sravana yapi bahubhiryo nalabhyaha. Oh, Sravana yapi bahubhiryo nalabhyaha. Srunvantopi bahavoyam na vidyuhu. Srunvantopi bahavoyam na vidyuhu. Ascharyo vakta kushalosya labda. Ascharyo vakta kushalosya labda. Ascharyo jnata kusalanusishtaha. Ascharyo jnata kusalanusishtaha. Together. Sravanayapi bahubhiryo na labhyaha. Srunvantopi bahavoyam na vidyuhu. Ascharyo vakta kushalosya labda. Ascharyo jnata kusalanusishtaha. And here glorifying, this is such a wonderful teaching, Ascharyam. And Sravanayapi bahubhiryo nalabhyaha, even to listen to this kind of teaching, it's very rare indeed. Not many people, however much you advertise all over, only few people are really interested in this kind of teaching. So even though it's available, only few are really interested. And Srunvantopi bahavoyam na vidyuhu, even though people listen to it, they appreciate, oh, it's so beautiful lecture. So what did you understand? I didn't understand anything, but it was very beautiful. So it's the understanding of the topic itself becomes because it's a subtle subject. Ascharyo Vakta, the speaker of this itself is a wonder. So wonder is, Swami Chirananda defines as wonder is that which an intellect cannot comprehend. Whenever something happens and which I cannot explain, I call it a wonder. And this truth cannot be intellectually explained, but it is evident. Life is there. We know what there is a life, but we don't know what life is. It's a wonder. Because something makes the matter so dynamic, yet we don't know what it is. So it is a wonder. And talking about that itself is wonder, because you cannot talk about it at the same time you are talking about it, because it is that which cannot be expressed in words, which cannot be pointed in words. Therefore, Ascharyo Vakta, the one who can still communicate that which is not communicatable, is really a wonder. Kusalosya Labda, the one who can understand by this communication, that's another wonder itself. And is indeed rare. And Ascharyo Jnata, after listening to this, and one who understood or comprehended the truth, is really another wonder. Kusalanusishtaha is rare indeed. That kind of a student who can, anusishta, who follows the teacher and understands everything that the teaching reveals, and that itself is wonder. So I mentioned this is a somewhat reflection of the Bhagavad Gita, sloka ascharyavat paschati kaschidena. So I mentioned that Krishna himself says, it is ascharyavat paschati kaschidena, ascharyavat vadati tadeva chanyaha, ascharyavat paschaiva manyasrunoti, srutvapyenam veda chaiva kaschit. There Krishna laments because it is everything wonder. The one who says is wonder, the one who hears is wonder, one who talks about wonder, one who thinks about is wonder. Yet, srutvapyepi yenam vedana chaiva kaschit. In spite of listening to all this, it's still a wonder that people don't really pursue this. So, it's a wonder of all wonders. I think I mentioned what is the greatest wonder in the world by Yaksha Prasna in the Mahabharata, where what is the wonder of all wonders? And Yudhishthira says, people are dying every day, people are seeing at least being born, yet everybody thinks that they are going to live permanently here and keep collecting, I want this, I want this, I want this, this is mine. That's a real wonder. But here the wonder is something beyond of the knowledge itself. So he glorified the nature of the teaching and the student who can listen to it and gain knowledge out of it. Now he glorifies the teacher also. The next sloka. Before that we already talked about blind leading the blind. That is a statement coming from the Upanishads. There are teachers without understanding, and if you go to a lot of YouTubes and Facebooks, you will find a lot of Neo-Advaitins talking about, everybody says this is an experience, you have to experience and all that. And so it is more or less blind leading the blind. We'll see why it is. But here the Yamadharmaraja gives a warning that one has to listen to a proper teacher. Now we'll say who is a proper teacher here. Sloka 8. Nanarena varena prokta esha, varena prokta esha, suvigneyo bahudha chintyamanaha, suvigneyo bahudha chintyamanaha, ananya prokto gatiratra nasti, ananya prokto gatiratra nasti, aniyan hi atarkya manu pramanat. So I split it so that it's difficult. Aniyan hi atarkyam anupramanat. Okay. Together. Nanarena varena prokta esha suvigneyo bahudha chintyamanaha ananya prokto gati pranasti. Ananya prokto or prokti? Ananya prokti gatiratra, yes. Aniyan hi atarkyamana pravana pramas. So narena avarena prokta esha. So avarena is, varam is the shreshtam, avarena is the one who is not shreshtam or the best, the one who is not the best teacher, essentially is trying. So narena avarena prokta esha na suvignoyo bahuda chintyamanaha. So that not by a man, not narena, not by a man who is not really the best. Avarena is not really the best. Here the best is the one who has not only understood but realized. According to scriptures, Sotriyam Brahmanishtam, the one who is established in the Brahmanishta by listening to his teacher. Means he taught by his teacher, Sotriyaha, and therefore he knows the Shrutis. So one who follows the Shruti as a Shruti Pramana and also was established in the Brahmanishta, he is the Varena. But Avarena is then who is not listened to the scriptures properly or heard indirectly or not proper understanding. So they are all come under avarena. So that kind of a teacher is prokta esha suvignyo bahuda chintyamanaha. So that kind of teaching will not be helping in understanding. Suvignyayam is clear understanding of that. So what is required is a clear understanding. People think about we have understood Advaita, and all we have to do is now sit and do meditation. Because I already attended so many classes, I understood completely. All I have to do is sit and do. I am looking for experience of Brahman. That's what a lot of people think. So that's why I said in the New Advaitins, they say all you have to do is sit and meditate and sit and meditate. Who am I? And so on and so forth. But here, a clear understanding of the truth is required, because ignorance is a problem. That is the basic fundamental problem, is ignorance. Ignorance can only be removed by knowledge. So experience is not a knowledge. We have to understand, we should have a knowledge of the experience. Experience can give you knowledge, provided if there is a proper teaching about the experience. Somebody has to explain, because when I look at the pencil in a glass, I see pencil is bending inside a glass. So experience is that there is a pencil that is bending. That's my experience. But knowledge is that pencil really doesn't bend. So I should have a proper understanding by proper logic. It says, even though I am seeing a bending of a pencil in when you immerse half in the water, and it doesn't really bend, but appears to be bending. So one has to see the experience, and the knowledge of the experience has to be there. So knowledge is different from experience. In fact, knowledge can resolve contradictory experiences. And therefore, that kind of knowledge is required where I don't see any contradictions in terms of I am the truth. That I am, which is Satchidananda Swarupam, is to be, or has to be understood. Therefore, Suvignyayam, clear understanding. Vijnanam itself is clear understanding. Suvignyayam is crystal clear understanding of I am that. That is Tattvamasi. That has to be understood. And this has to be understood by Bahuda Chintyamanaha. There is a varieties of ways of thinking about it, because the mind wants a different, consistent, at the same time systematic understanding. And people who are coming from different backgrounds, and they ask different, if you look at all the questions, various questions come from different directions, all pointing to the same thing. So one has to have a clear way of, from different directions, one has to understand this clearly. From all points to the same thing, but at the same time, depending upon the type of questions people ask, one should be able to have clear crystal understanding. So, because we are looking at three aspects. One is a jiva, another is a jagat, another is the Ishvara. So all has to be understood as together as Satchidananda Swarupa. Who am I inquiry will understand I am not this, I am not this, I am not this. Only understand who I am as pure conscious entity, but that doesn't tell you about what is the world, which I am not. So therefore, I should understand what is the world also, and what's my relationship with the world, and also how come I am suffering like this, or where I am coming from birth, and what I am going to do after, all life before, life after, all these things, and one has to understand. There was recent YouTube morning, I was looking at something, and somebody says, I was 7 minutes, I was out of life. I was somewhere else, and he's giving his experience of out of life experiences. Some bright light and all that. If you see bright light, that means that's not the truth. Because anything that is objectified cannot be truth. So here, that's why Suvignyayam Bahuda Chintyamanaha. It has to be explained from several directions and ultimately called Samanvayam. That's called in the Brahma Sutra, Tattva Samanvayat. So there is a consistent explanation, because the Upanishads are so many Upanishads approaching different directions. At the same time, one has to have a coherent understanding of this. And that's what is a teacher's duty. A teacher's duty is taking from different scriptures and crystallizing and give the essence of it. And that is Varena. Avarena is that who doesn't have this knowledge, therefore you will not get a crystal clear understanding of that. So a teacher is the one, he essentially is qualifying, a teacher is the one who himself should have an understanding of his self at least. So the scriptural teaching is Sat Vijnanartham sa Gurum eva abhigachet. You approach a teacher alone, not the scriptures. You don't go to scriptures. You approach a teacher alone who has studied the scriptures and who has for himself established in the knowledge. Therefore, that kind of teacher, in the second and in the third and fourth line, he says, Ananya prokto gatiratra nasti. So, Ananya, other than this inferior teachers, that means the one who is superior teacher, the ones who is firmly established in the knowledge of this truth, that is the right teacher, Prokta. So, gatiratra nasti, there is no path towards it, but they say because it's something, it's not to go somewhere, it's not to do something, it's not to gain something, that's not the type of the end result, because most of the scriptures says I have to go to, where do I go to Vaikuntha, I go somewhere else and so on, as the moksha, liberation. Says it is not something that I can go to, because it's a gati atra nasti. There is no goal to be achieved other than clear understanding, suvijnayam. So it is crystal clear understanding only. Understanding will not take you anywhere. Understanding will take you only, removes the ignorance only. Wherever you are, understanding only removes the ignorance. Oh, now I understand. That means it's not going anywhere, but it is just clear removal of the ignorance of the truth that is being covered by the ignorance. Why it is difficult? Here he is giving three examples. Aniyan hi atarkyam anupramanat. It is aniyan. Aniya means it is very subtle. Anu means small, very smallest, like a particle. But here is unrecognizable, imperceptible. Therefore, it is very subtle. So it is actually one that pervades everything. So space I cannot see. For example, space itself I cannot see. Through perception, I cannot see the space because it is very subtle compared to other things. I can see Vayu, Agnihi, Apa, Prithvi, all other elements I can see, but I cannot see the space. Space I have to deduce because it is, even from science point, it is distance between 2 points, simultaneous observations. So therefore, or from the point of Vedanta, it is through which sound travels. At least according to us. So I can, through the sound, I can point out in which direction this, or where spatially I can locate an object. And therefore, that itself is subtle, and this is even the subtler than the space. Therefore, aniyan, he indeed, atarkyam. Tarkyam is logic. So it is not logically, it cannot be logically established. So people ask for, says, prove it, because they want to prove from a logical angle, but itself is logically cannot be. Why? Because logic itself based on pratyaksha pramana. So how do you know anything logically? Because I have deducted the cause-effect relationship that is called in the process of anumana pramana. This is called vyapti jnanam. So between the sadhyam and the hetu. Hetu is the observation that I am doing, like I am seeing the smoke, that is hetu. Sadhyam is I am concluding there must be a smoke there. And how do I know? Because in the past, by observation, valid data, I have established a vyapti jnanam, a concomitant relation between hetu and sadhya. Therefore, I can establish logically, yes, wherever there is a smoke, there has to be fire. Not the other way. Wherever there is a fire, there need not be smoke. But wherever there is a smoke, there has to be fire. So that logic itself, Anumana Pramana, rests on Pratyaksha Pramana as a validity. So even the science that lays on the deductive or inductive reasoning has to depend upon certain valid data. And when I conclude from the valid data the cause for the effects, I have to provide a justification for my conclusion. Otherwise, it doesn't help. So if I have some stones from the moon and I evaluate by carbon dating, I can evaluate what is the age of the moon, right? That's what it is. Suppose I have got the stones from the moon and I say age of the Mars is this much. Then you say, how do I know? Unless I had to prove that these stones came from again Mars or something else. So I need to have a logically a connection between the observations and the deductions that I do. But here the Tarkyam, which depends upon the logic, depends upon the Pratyaksham, and Pratyaksha Pramana can only depends upon the perception, and the perception is only, I can see Sabda, Sparsa, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha. All the five senses can only operate on the Vyavaharika level only. That means on the transactional level, and it cannot go into the Paramarthika Satyam. Therefore, it is Atarkyam. So therefore, it is difficult to teach. And therefore, you need a right teacher who knows how to teach. And Anupramanat. So here, Aniyan Anupramanat. It is in the same way, is the most subtlest of all subtle, because I already said it is subtle. It is the subtlest of all subtle things. Therefore, you need a proper teacher. So all this justification is, not all teachers are the right teachers. And one has to approach a teacher who knows the subject. How does he know? That means he has approached another teacher who knows the subject properly, and therefore he has learned from his teacher not only the truth but also how to teach also. If he knows but he doesn't teach properly, we are in trouble. And also he has to have that clear understanding also. So that means he is Brahmanishta. He is abiding in the knowledge of that Brahman. So how do you know he is abiding? I can tell that he may be knowing the scriptures, he has learned so on for a long time from his teacher. But how do I know he is Brahmanishta? That I cannot know. We said, okay, that I will never know that somebody else is Brahmanishta. I can only know if I am Brahmanishta or not. So what should I do because according to scriptures, you have to approach a teacher who is Brahmanishta. Says, therefore, only by the grace of God you are led to a proper teacher. So don't go and test whether your teacher is Brahmanishta or not, because there is no litmus test. And I think I wrote an article on what is a litmus test for self-realization. So litmus test for self-realization is only one. If you want to really know, there is a litmus test where one does not depend on something other than himself for his happiness. That is the litmus test. So you can only test yourself. So if I don't depend on something other than myself, that means I depend Atmani eva Atmana tushtaha. I am reveling in myself. That's what Krishna says as Sthita Prajna. I am reveling in myself because I have recognized there is nothing else that gives me happiness, and only happiness comes from myself only. Whatever happiness outside is only reflected happiness only. Pratibimba Ananda. So therefore, one who doesn't depend on something other than himself is the litmus test to know that I have realized or not. Oh, I have realized, but I need a cup of coffee tomorrow. I will be restless if without a cup of coffee. That means my happiness goes down the drain until I have a cup of coffee. So if I depend on anything other than anything, any object, any people, anything at all, that becomes a bondage. That is a slavery. So that is the only litmus test where I can test myself. I cannot test anybody else. Hey, he is also drinking coffee, I am also drinking coffee. How come he say he is liberated and I am not liberated? He is not depending. If he comes coffee, it's okay. If he doesn't come coffee also, it's okay for him. He doesn't become restless and then has to go run to 7-Eleven and so on and so forth, run all over for a cup of coffee. So whatever that comes because of the prarabdha, he accepts it as it is. So one has to be careful how you evaluate other people with it. So the best thing is not to go and make judgment call about, hey, this man is realized, that man is realized. The question is, can I gain something out of his teaching? If I don't gain out the teaching, just walk out. Otherwise, there are other people who can gain knowledge out of this. Now, there's some more. Shankara provides a little bit explanation for this. Gatiratra nasti, ananya prokto gatiratra nasti. Says gatihi atra nasti. So the way can also be split as ananya prokte agatihi atra nasti. I don't know how you get split, but that's also possible. Ananya prokte gatiratra nasti. I wrote prokta, I don't know why. Ananya prokte gatiratra nasti. So here Shankara says is a teacher is a one, say ananya prokta. Who is that who is different from the lower type? Means it is varena, the one who is most or the best teacher. So for every student, his teacher is the best. For every student, his teacher is realized. Otherwise, whether his teacher is realized or not, student will not realize unless he has the faith in the teaching or the value of the teaching. So a student has to approach a teacher with a clear understanding. My teacher knows. My teacher knows what? The self. So what self does he know? If he knows, the teacher knows himself or himself, what good is the student? Student should know himself, not the teacher's self. Unless the teacher knows that the self that he knows is the self that pervades everywhere. You follow now? So the teacher should have a clear understanding of the self that I am is the self in the teacher, in the student, in everything else. So Aite Atma Vidagum Sarvam Tat Satyam. Everything in the universe, whether he is alive, whether it is inert or live or living, that which pervades everything as the essence of it. In the today's Atma goes Sarva Adhishtanam Brahma. There's a definition is given in the Atma Bodha class. So that which is Adhishtanam, that which is supports Dharyate Jagat, that supports the whole universe, that he knows as I am that self. So Sarva Bhutastam Atmanam Sarva Bhutani Cha Atmani. That Krishna says in the 6th chapter. The self that I am is the self that everywhere also. Everything is in me and I am in everything also. That is the self that the teacher understands. So therefore no gati, he says this teacher is a clear and a perceptor, is free from notion of all dualities of whatsoever. And that is the varena, that is the teacher that one has to approach. And he has no doubts whatever. If he has himself doubts, then how can he clear out the doubts of the students? That is suvijnayam. That is the clear understanding of the subject. So whatever questions that he pose, he should have a clarity of explaining it from the student points in crystal clear way that the student can understand. And that is the teacher that one needs. And the self in all is the self in oneself, Atma. And Gatihi is not different from the self. He should know that the goal is not somewhere, it is the self that I am, is the essence of the goal. Because I said last time also, what is the fundamental truth? The fundamental truth is I am the total, because everything else is I can dismiss. I can dismiss the world, I can dismiss the Ishvara, because the world is there. Ishvara is only one who created the world. If I dismiss the world itself, there is no creator also. But I cannot dismiss myself. That is the absolute truth as far as the individual who is trying to do moksha. He cannot dismiss himself. He can negate everything else. So that which can never be dismissed is the absolute truth. And that is the only way one can know. And that is the self. And that is no path towards myself. So people want to know, I want to know myself. So where do I know? How am I going to experience? I want to experience Lord, right? I want to experience this. When is the time I'm not experiencing myself? If you ask us, I want to experience Brahman. We are all looking for Brahman, right? But when is the time we are not experiencing ourselves? where is the problem now? But at the same time, if you ask anybody, have you realized Brahman? So everybody says no. So where is the problem? Problem is, I have not understood that I am the Brahman. That is the problem. So I have understood. I have understood as just a fact, or not as a fact, as a thought. Only I think, yes, it's logical, scripture says so, and I understood in the class, but as soon as I live, I am again a local jiva and having this problem, that problem, that problem. So whenever I have a problem, means my happiness depends on the problem. That means I have not completely realized. That's why I gave a litmus test. My happiness doesn't depend upon anything. That means I am absolutely happy irrespective of anything that happens in the world. That is complete realization of my true nature as I am Ananda Swarupa. Anantameva Anandam. Therefore it is Brahma Swarupa. So that understanding has to be clear. So that essentially Krishna says this Ananya Prokta Agatihi, says there is no path towards it because it is not praptas, it is not apraptasya praptam. It's not gaining something that I do not have it. Apraptasya praptam is, so I struggle for to gain something. I gain something that I don't have it. That's called apraptasya praptam. But it's not of that type, it is praptasya praptam. It's gaining something that I already gained. So why should I gain something that I already gained? Because I don't know that I have gained. So it's a question of pure ignorance is the problem. And therefore, there is no gati for it. So Shankaracharya provides elaborate explanation for this sloka in terms of this. Okay, let's go to the next sloka. Naisha tarkena matirapaneya. Naisha tarkena matirapaneya. Proktanyenaiva sujnanaya sri preshta. Yam tvamapaha satya dhrutirbhatasi.
Yam tvamapa satya dhrutirbhatasi.
Tvam drunno bhuyan nachiketa prashtha.
Tvam drunno bhuyan nachiketa prashtha.
Together. Naisha tarkena matirapaneya. Proktanyenaiva sujnanaya preshta. Yam tvamapaha satya dhrutirbhatasi. Tvam drunno bhuyan nachiketa prashtha. The first line is a very famous statement. It's well quoted all over. Naisha tarkena matirapaneya. Na esha, not this, tarkena by the logic, matihi, by this knowledge, apaneya, attainable, that cannot be attained. This knowledge cannot be attained by the logic process. So anybody says, prove this as a truth, you cannot prove it. Thank you, sir, I cannot prove it. Bye-bye. Why? Scripture says, logically, I cannot deduce this process. Logic involves obviously intellectual analysis. Intellect is required for logical analysis. So through the intellectual process, by thought process, I cannot deduce this. I can deduce everything else within this system, what is the truth behind the sunrise and sunset or pencil bending, all those things that are there, including the water I see in the dry sand, I mean the mirage water. I can provide you a logical explanation for it or scientific explanation, but this cannot be established by science now. Tarkena means Tarka involves both scientific objective analysis. So this statement has to be understood. Oh, science is going to discover the truth. Naisha Tarkena Matirapane. This has to be quoted because no way Science can, because in the very scientific observation, the observer is separated from the observed. Remember, including the God particles, the so-called God particle. There is an observer observing the God particle also. Anything that is observed is finite, right? And we are talking about Brahman, which is infinite. So you cannot, by observation, you cannot. Therefore, that which depends on observations, which is Tarka Shastram, therefore the Tarka Shastra cannot provide you a proof at any time. So any atheist comes and say, prove me God is there, says, thank you, we cannot prove. The very fact that you are able to talk itself is a proof of God existence, but I cannot show you this is God or that is God. And people say, Lord Krishna appeared and I saw Krishna. Did you really see Krishna? Yes, I saw. I talked to him also, private talk. But anybody else could listen? Of course, they are not bhaktas, they cannot listen. So all they heard is this fellow is talking to himself. Nowadays it's all right, I guess, because people talk on cell phones, walking and talking. But in olden days they thought this may be crazy, he's talking to himself. So because there is no way you can really see perception, it's not by perception, therefore it's not logically. That is the first aspect of this statement. Naisha tarkena matirapane. Now, there is a second aspect which is also very subtle. So, not only I cannot know by logic or by science, because I can include science is nothing but objective knowledge, analysis. I cannot deny this by science also. Now you got the second aspect of it. So, science is going to prove that there is no God. This fellow, who is that recently? Who is that? The God, nature created. God did not create. Nature created. No, he doesn't. He cannot talk. And what?
Steve Hopkins.
Steve Hopkins. There was a big Yahoo article. Steve Hopkins says there is no creation. God did not create. What created? Nature created. Our Vedanta says, how did nature come into picture? Who created nature? What is nature? No further questions there. So, that's not a logical answer. It's nature created. Okay, nature created. But what is nature? Nature is a gravitational force. So what is gravitational force? How does it come into existence? So nature gave a big bang. What are the laws governing the nature? Nature is only all follows the laws. But who is the author of those laws? So here, Naisha tarkena matirapaneya, the science cannot deny the existence of this, cannot prove that he is not there or Brahman is not there. So any statement by scientists, we have proved is obviously a statement of ignorance only. So this statement, one, science cannot really use science or objective analysis to understand the truth, and also it cannot be used to deny the existence of the truth also. So Naisha tarkena matirapaneya proktanyenaiva sujnanaya preshta. So the prokta taught by anena acharyena, here anena is by acharya, eva sujnanaya, for clear understanding, a preshta, oh my dear one. So to have a clear understanding by a proper teacher, you need a teacher to do that, and this knowledge can only be gained by acharya. Acharya is achinoti iti shastrani, achinoti iti shastrani, the one who has distilled the shastras is an acharya, and that is swayam achariti also, one who follows the acharya, and that is through anena, through this teacher who is Varena, who is the greatest. So one's teacher is glorified. That's what we teach. Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo, Maheshwaraha. And that is only through the teaching of that this knowledge can be taught. Prokta. Evas. Sujnanaya. So for clear, crystal clear understanding, therefore only, O Preshta, O my dear one, this can only be understood by a proper teacher. And how about you? Yam tvam, that you, apaha, having obtained satyadruti. You are a person who is firmly established in dhruti. Dhruti is here in the sat aspect, which is dharyati dhruti, that which supports the whole thing. So you have firmly understood almost. You have come, although you are only a young boy, only 9-year-old, you have essentially, from your samskara, you are essentially understood there is something real there. And that's what you are going after. So you almost as though you understood, because you have come to me anyway. So you are going to gain this knowledge. So that means even though he has not yet learned, he is almost taken granted that he is going to learn, because he knows the qualifications of the student. In the Upanayana also, when we teach, so it's Brahmopadesam. So Brahmopadesam is Vedopadesam there, right? So in the Upadesam only you only give Gayatri Mantram. That's all you give there. But from then he says, if you look at Abhivadam, he says, I am the student of Vedas already. With that means I have almost studied. Once I have learned the Gayatri Upasana, Gayatri Mantra, it's essence of the whole, all the Vedas, and with Omkara you start. That is essentially the whole Vedic summary of it is provided. So he's already claimed that I am in the what is that, Abhivadi. He says, I am the Yajushaka Adhyaya. I am already student of this Vedas. So here the Lord Death is saying that Yam Tvam, he says you are English, Apaha, you are already having obtained Satyadrutihi, firmly abiding in that Sat, that which is the Supreme, and Sabatasi, you will be established in Twadruk, because Twadruk Bhuyan Nachiketa Prashta. You will be established in that knowledge, because I am so happy with you. And here the glory of the student is also, I am not going to get a student like you. He is also saying, I am really blessed because you have come to me and I am able to teach you, because it becomes an acharya runa. Here we have to understand that teacher has to teach. Even though he doesn't gain any knowledge, he is already established in the knowledge. But when a qualified student comes and asks for it, it becomes a responsibility of the teacher to teach that student, because he himself learned from his teacher in the same way, and he has obligation to his teacher, it's called Acharya Runam. Therefore, I am so happy that I could get a student like you, and there will not be a student like you, so mature and so intelligent. So it says Twadruk, it is a student like you to us, to the teacher. Bhuyat, essentially to have that, Nachiketa Prashta, says one who is inquiring of that is not possible. Therefore, I am so happy that you have come to me. So I am the teacher also, I am very happy. So he is glorifying the teacher. In the next sloka, sorry, I put water here. In the next sloka, Yama recalls himself when he was a man and he had an opportunity to learn, and he didn't learn. So why you are so glorious? Because it's okay, don't worry. It's a glorious. The teaching itself will be glorious, and you are given so much opportunities for enjoyment, but you didn't take it. And I didn't have this knowledge when I was a human being. So here, let's say even that post, Yamadharmaraja is also a post which everybody can gain, provided they do proper upasana, proper that. So I was once a human being, and I had this opportunity, but I didn't use that opportunity like you are using it. And you are really great because you rejected all that and want that. I wish I had done that also when I was young like you. So here he is glorifying, taking the example of himself as a student. That's the next sloka. Janamyaham sevadhiritya nityam. Janamyaham sevadhiritya nityam. Nahyam dhruvaihi prapyatehi dhruvam tat. Nahyam dhruvaihi prapyatehi dhruvam tat. Tato maya nachiketaschitognihi. Tato maya nachiketaschitognihi. Anityai dravyai praptavanasmi nityam. Anityai dravyai praptavanasmi nityam. Together. Janamyaham sevadhiritya nityam. Nahyadhruvaihi prapyatehi dhruvam tat. Tato maya nachiketaschitognihi. Nityai vyai praptavanasmi nityam. So janami, aham janami, janamyaham. So aham janami, I knew or I know. Sevadhi, by seva, but that is by the self that I could gain all the wealth. So wealth, karma palam, that is essentially. So wealth acquired through all the karma pala. Anityam iti, it is anityam, it is not permanent. I knew. When I was a human being, I knew at that time, I had as much of knowledge as you have, that anything that I can gain by karma is going to be impermanent, including Nachiketa Yajna. You remember just now he gave a title for that Nachiketa Yajna. Even the Nachiketa Yajna that one performs to one go to highest level, even though it is karma, therefore karma phalam, therefore it is anityam, because karma itself is anityam, therefore karma phala itself is anityam. So even though I knew it, so it's janami aham sevadihi anityam iti. So Nahim na ki nahi adhruvaihi, nahi adhruvaihi. So that which is adhruvaihi, that which is not eternal, prapyatehi dhruvam tatu. One can gain that by dhruvam, that which is by that which is not eternal, which is the impermanent action, and that the dhruvam tatu prapyate, one cannot gain that which is eternally permanent. So what he's saying is, by na karmana na prajaya dhanena tyagena ikese, by karma I cannot gain that one, because karma being a finite, and finite cannot gain infinite result, and this dhruti is that which is the substratum for the whole universe, cannot be gained by actions. That's why the Parichalokon, right? Parichalokon, Karmachitan Brahmano, Nirvedamayan Nascha Kruta Krutera. The second statement is, I cannot gain that by any action, that which cannot be gained by any Krutam. That means by action I cannot gain, and I am doing all the actions all the time. And even though I knew all this, Janami, even though I have known that I cannot gain through action that which is beyond the action, Tato maya nachiketaschitognihi. So tadaha maya nachiketaha. Yet by me I have done this nachiketa yajna, nachiketascha agnihi. Anityai dravyaihi praptavan asmi nityam. This anityam dravyaihi, this position that I am occupying as Yamadharmaraja, I gained through some kind of Nachiketa Yajna, and even though I know that result is not permanent, even this position says praptavan asmi nityam. It appears to be nityam in comparison to the life in the world. So it's not really nityam, even though here it appears to be nityam. I gain this by going through Nachiketa Yajna instead of going after that which is beyond this karma pala, that which is absolute truth. Instead of that, I went through this. And of course, I learned, of course, that means he's teaching. That means he became knowledgeable after he became Yama, maybe. So in the Kenopanishad, we have this sloka there in the third last chapter, where when the Yaksha came, the Indra, owned by God, came back, returned back, and not knowing what that Yaksha is. And when Indra went there, it disappeared, and Uma came, right? And Uma came, says, what was that? That is the total, the truth, absolute truth. And Indra alone could know, and via Shruti, Uma stands for the scriptures, he could learn and understood what is the nature of the reality. And once he understood, he must have taught other gods also. So the Yama must have learned from Indra after his lessons. So after gaining that, I have realized therefore, but I was not smart enough like you. I gave all this, but you didn't want any of that. So he's essentially glorifying the student by comparing himself with the student. And here again he goes one more slick. I gave you the highest one and you rejected it, O Nachiketa. Therefore you are really great. Because even though I look for the Yamadharma Raja post, I gave you even the highest post, and even that you didn't want it. So he is essentially another sloka glorifying his student. So in this sloka, the reference is given to, according to Shankara, a position of Hiranyagarbha was offered to Nachiketas, and even that he rejected it. Hiranyagarbha is the highest in the hierarchy of all the gods. Hiranyagarbha is the Brahmaji. So he was offered almost like Brahmaji post, and that was rejected. So that's what this sloka is going to be. Kamasyaptim jagataha pratishtam. Kamasyaptim jagataha pratishtam. Kratoranantyam abhayasya param. Stomam mahad urugayam pratishtam drushtva. Dhrutya dhiro nachiketotyasrakshihi. Nachiketotyasrakshihi. Together. Kamasyaptim jagatah pratishtam. Kratoranantyam param. Stomam mahad urugayam pratishtam drushtva. Dhrutva dhiro nachiketa atyasakshi. Nachiketa atyasrakshi. So kamasya aptim. Kamasya aptim. Kamasya means all the desires, aptim, the fulfillment, jagataha pratishtam, the foundation of the world. So here the Hiranyagarbha is the highest place where all desires can be fulfilled. That is the highest. So in that hierarchy of Ananda in the Taittiriya Upanishad, one Manushya Ananda is one who owns the whole universe of this earth, plus all that, and also is young enough to digest all the foods also, different types of foods, and he has all that. So his Ananda is a supreme, and that is one Ananda. And if you go to Gandharva Ananda and Deva Ananda, all those is 100 times the other Ananda, like that hierarchy of Ananda. And highest Ananda in that reflected happiness is Hiranyagarbha's Ananda, that is Brahmaji's, and that's called Satyaloka. That is the highest loka you can go by Krama Mukti also. Up to that you can go. There you have a choice. By Upasana you can go. And that's why by Upasana, Nachiketo says by Upasana, one can go to that place of Brahmaji. Omkara Upasana is going to tell us also. Omkara Upasana. By that you can reach that Hiranyagarbha state. So where all desires can be fulfilled. Kamasya aptim, fulfillment, jagataha pratishtam. Who this is the one who is the creator of this whole universe itself, jagataha pratishtam. Kratoho Kratoho anantyam abhayasya param. Kratoho anantyam. The endless sacrifices, abhayasya of fearlessness, param, the state where one can gain beyond all the rituals, and there is no abhayam. There is no bhayam means there is no fear in that state. Stomam, that which is stuti yogyam, that is praiseworthy. Mahat, that which is so great. It means it's all glorification of the Brahmaji's post. Urugayam, that which is spread out all over through whole galaxy, maybe wherever the Brahmaji is control on. Pratishtam, one who is established in that position, that is Hiranyagarbha. So that is position being offered to you, says Drashta. So having inquired, so you have rejected that Stomam, Mahad, Uragayam, Pratishtam, Drashtva, Drutva, Dhiro, Nachiketaha, Atyasratshi. So, hey Nachiketas, you have Drishtva, having seen this, what? Having seen the impermanency of this, all that, including the Brahmaji's post where one can enjoy all the desires that one can have, and there is no fear of anything, and you are beyond all that, including that you have rejected. Rejected not without understanding. Just like remember I gave example, my granddaughter rejects $100 bill because she wants balloons, because she doesn't understand what is the value of the $100 bill. But you understood. Drashtva means having seen the impermanency of even that position, you have Dhrutya Dhiro, essentially, you have with the firm abiding knowledge on this vigorously, you have Dhruti, but firmly you rejected it. Because Atyasrakshihi, you have rejected all that. Oh Nachiketaha, says you are really a wise person, being wise. Dhiraha, dhiro nachiketaha. Being wise, you have rejected all that. Therefore, you have that vairagyam required for that. This is actually test for others. It's not like Nachiketa's test. Whenever we are going after something other than this, then we have a problem. Oh, I want this plus this also. Nothing doing. You won't get it. Because why? You won't get, why can't I have both this one, Brahman, and also other things also? We can enjoy life. So my wife, I keep saying, let's enjoy every time Vedanta, Vedanta. What is Vedanta? Every time you're only stuck in the Vedanta, let's go and have fun. So why? We should have, life should be fun for fun also. She has her own arguments, but so enjoy that. But not that I shouldn't go, but if my happiness depends on something other than myself, that means I have understood that there is something happiness there. That means I have not understood Brahman properly. So here, says Brahman is knowing that there is nothing other than Brahman. The happiness is only coming from the absolute Brahman. And to reject that gives me happiness is something. But I can play the game as a play. And that is a different, it becomes a vibhuti. But if I depend on it, then there is a problem. Therefore, you understood this unreality, and therefore, with intelligence, you have rejected it. And therefore, you are really a great student that I have. Okay, let's do this 12th sloka. Tam durdarsham gudamanupravishtam.
Tam durdarsham
Manupravishtam guhahitam gakvareshtam puranam. Gakvareshtam puranam. Adhyatma yogadigamena devam.
Adhyatma yogadigamena devam.
Matva dhiro harshasokau jahati.
Matva dhiro harshasokau jahati.
Together. Tam durdarsham gudamanupravishtam Garvahishtam Puranam Adhyatma Yogadigamenna Matva Dhiro Harsha Soka Jahati. So here the glorifying in the nature of the knowledge itself now. He has glorified the teacher and the teaching and the student. Now he is telling the absolute beautiful nature of the reality that he is going to tell. That which is here is the absolute truth, which is the supreme. Durdarsam, which is darsam is seeing, and durdarsam, it is difficult to see. Difficult to see means difficult to understand, because it is not something objectifiable. Yes, I understood. You cannot say. And as you remember, that who understood have not understood. Because it's not something to understand as objective knowledge. It is about the subject itself. So therefore, it is durdarsam. Gudham. Gudham is that which is not directly seen, which is hidden. Hidden is what? Hidden, but it is still there, evident. It is so evident, it is so hidden. It's called Gudha Rahasyam. Rahasyam is, if three people have Rahasyam, if it will remain as Rahasyam if two people died. So Rahasyam is that which is cannot be easily what? Told, propagated. But it is Gudam. It is so hidden that it is not obvious, because it is evident everywhere. It's so evident everywhere, I don't see it. Because where is that existence not there? Everything that I see exists. This tumbler exists, but can I see Brahman here? Oh, it's only tumbler, because my attention is only on the tumbler, but not in the existence that supports the existence of the tumbler, right? For that is Gudham, because I cannot really see. That's why it is Durdarsam, therefore it is Gudham. So Anupravishtam, it is not easily located. It is inaccessible. So inaccessible through any pramana. Here you have to understand, it cannot be gained through by any means of knowledge also. Any means of knowledge? Yes, it is aprameyam, including Vedas. So remember, Sabda Pramana is Vedas, but it is aprameyam. It cannot be known. So including Vedas also, Vedas doesn't teach you this is Brahman. It tells you, points out in the direction for you to do vichara. You have to inquire in the direction it is pointing, and what is pointing is not pointed. What is pointing is only means to lift my mind in that direction, and then I get absorbed into that. That is called Adhyatma Yoga. That is a yoga of Adhyatma. It's a name here. The Lord of Yama uses the word as Adhyatma Yoga, and it's the first time you hear as the yoga word being used in the Upanishadic statements. We hear in the Bhagavad Gita, right? Wait a minute. Oh, that's in the Nayogena Nasankhya, some of that sloka is coming. That's in the Vivekachudamani. So, Adhyatma Yoga, Digamena Devam. So, this is Gudam Anupravishtam, Guhahitam. Guhahitam is, this is an understanding, one has to be careful here. It is understanding in the Guha, in the cave. Where is that cave? Guhahitam, it is cave of the heart. And here the scripture talks about the heart. It's not the physical heart. Physical heart is on the left hand side, right? This heart that we're talking about, where Atma resides, as though, quote unquote, is here on the right side of the individual. So when somebody is say, hey, I am the one who did it, right? We try to point, I am. We are trying to point out here, not there, not anywhere. We are trying to point out to the chest. That's where I am is. So I am is all pervading I am, as though located in the guha of the heart. So literal meaning, and Shankara also provides that heart of this is in the position there described as in the chest, in the side, right side, as though there is a Padma. Padma is a lotus. In the lotus of the cave of the lotus is where the Atma is. Don't try to look for a Padma and a lotus and heart. So another way of philosophical way is the heart of myself. Heart of the problem is the essence of myself. Where is myself? The self that I am. When I say I am, is the heart of myself itself, and that's where it is hidden. But I am is taken as I am this. That's our confusion. Where the ignorance is I am taking myself what I am not. That's why ignorance is. So how do I know I am ignorant? It's evident. Where? Because I am taking myself what I am not as I am because of the ignorance. So how am I taking? Because everybody says I know myself. And they give big list of I am this, I am that, and blah, blah, blah. And some people have pages and pages of list, and hours they can talk about themselves. About what? I am this. But this is inert, and I am a conscious entity. So there is a confusion already. But I am is hidden in everything, yet it is so hidden that I cannot see it. That's why it is as though Gudham, and therefore it is innermost, and Guha is a cave. Cave is where once you are enter into the cave, everything is only surrounded by cave only, right? So if you look this side, it is cave, that side is only cave, that side is everywhere it is only cave. That means everywhere you look inside from that Atma, it's only Atma is only. In the cave of that heart. So once you enter, there is nothing other than I am in that state. So that is Guhahitam. So once I establish myself in that I am that in the cave, there is nothing other than I am, even though I am seeing everything else. Everything is only I am projected in several ways of Nama Rupa only. That understanding is the real understanding. Therefore, that is Suvijñeyam. So it is called Guhahitam. It is almost hidden. The Gahvareshtham dwells in the endless Gahvareshtham, the endless, it is endless entity. What is endless entity? So the more you inquire, so here is a different way of explaining these things. It is there present everywhere, and the more you inquire in the objective knowledge, it is there, but it is the more you inquire, you keep on inquiring only. You know, any objective knowledge is nothing but itself projected in objective eyes, and the more sciences that you do, you become more and more specialization. The more inquiry, the more it opens up, and it is endless. If you want to talk about karma, karma is endless. Whatever you do, keep doing everything. It is endless action to get the results of happiness. The more you do, the more you want also, and the more you keep doing. And that way, gaining that is also endless. So any approach that you take is going to be an endless. Therefore, it is Gahvareshtham, that which cannot be gained by any other than through knowledge, because it is direct. It is aparotsham. Aparotsham means immediate and direct, provided I have the vision to see it. And that vision has to come through the Vedantic study. And Gahvareshtham and Puranam. So each is essentially an adjective provided, which cannot be described but using description here. Puranam is very old, I guess. It is ancient. Means it is beginningless. It is before even the time came, before the time started. It was there before even the time. Therefore, it is beyond time. So it can be anadi, beginningless. And that can be gained by Adhyatma Yoga, Digamena Devam. So by the process of Adhyatma Yoga. So this can be inquired through the Adhyatma Yoga. So what exactly Adhyatma? That which is beyond the any other process, beyond means of inner essence of the whole thing, and that has to be gained through the process, because it is there everywhere at the same time you cannot see it, and we call it Adhyatma Yoga. It says yoga of inner essence, that's how Swamiji defines as. And that which is Adhigamena, that by inquiry, here by meditation, but inquiry only one can acquire. So why do I need inquiry? How do I get by inquiry? Right? Inquiry is required because that's why you call Nitya Vastu Viveka. Viveka is required to find out. Why? Because it is there in everything, but it is there hidden, so I had to remove that which is covering it in order to find it. So it is there in the glass, but I am seeing only the form and color and all attributes of the glass, forgetting that there is existence that pervades this glass. But I am not paying attention to the existence. I am pervading, or I am only paying attention to, through perceptual process, I can only see colors and names and fonts and attributes. But that which is substantive, I cannot see through my eyes, but it is there. For that only, I need Adhyatma Yoga. Kamena Devam Adhigamena, by inquiring, Devam, that which is brilliant. Brilliant is that which is of the nature of consciousness here also. That is the, because of which I am conscious of everything. So where is this consciousness in this? There is no consciousness in this, right? I cannot see consciousness. But how do you know that there is no consciousness? I can see. What can I see? I see a glass. So how do you see a glass? Because I am conscious of it, right? Seeing, awareness of the glass is being conscious of the glass. So what I am conscious of? The existence of the glass. So existence, Sat part, is coming through perceptual process, and consciousness that I am the subject, existence expressed as an object, are becoming one for me to be conscious of the existence of the object, and therefore the world also. Therefore, this is how the Deva, the illumination, has to be there for me to know the inert existence also. So, world can only be proved by a conscious entity. Without a conscious entity, the world cannot be established, or its existence cannot be proven. It may exist, it may not exist, just as in the deep sleep state. Therefore, Devam is implied in the perceptual process also. So, Matva Dhiro Harshasokau Jahati. So, having known this truth, so what do I gain out of this? So what is the practical implication of this? There is no practical implication. You will be happy forever. You are not going to be Harsha Sokau Jahati. You are going to give up Harsham and Sokam both also. Both joys and sorrows you give up essentially. Matva Dhiro Jahati. You renounce both the pleasures and pains, that which you gain out of the small things that you remember. The Shreyas and Preyas. Preyas I am going after because it is giving me happiness. And even that happiness, seeking for happiness, you give up also, because there is no need for you to go after anything once you recognize this, because you understood even the happiness that I gain outside is only because of knowing myself, because I myself is the Ananda Swarupa. Even the happiness that I gain from outside is only reflected from this only. So once I understood the source of happiness is only myself, there is no reason for me to go elsewhere for the happiness. Of course, there is no elsewhere also. I understood the elsewhere is also, I am also that. So I can go or I can remain, because what I am going is also myself only. You have to understand. That's why Atma Rati and Atma Krida also is used. Krida means playing with myself, with the world. So a Jnani will enjoy the happiness even while playing outside also, because that outside is nothing but inside only of himself. That he understood, because Atma, everything else is pervading by him. So Matva, having understood this, all this, Dhiraha, the one who is knowledgeable, the wise person, Harshasoko Jahati, gives away the joys and sorrows of the world. Chagainaike amrutatva. He gains the tyagam by giving up what? Giving up the wrong notions about myself, about the world, about Ishvara. All the three. Jiva, Jagat, Ishvara. I have a wrong notion. I am only a Jiva. This is the world and there is a creator. All the three are getting dissolved, and what I am left with? Only Atma, Anatma. Anatma is only superimposed on Atma only. That is what I understood. So that is the Dhiraha here. That is the knowledgeable person. So the Yamadharma is still glorifying all this. He has not started the teaching yet. Until Nachiketa becomes impatient, says, I'm not asking all this, please teach me what I want to know. So he's going to tell later. But let's go give some more for platform for Yamadharma Raja. Etat srutva samparigruhya martyaha. Tatsrutva samparigruhya martyaha. Pravushya dharmaha anumetamapya. Pravushya dharmam. Pravushya dharmyam anumetamapya. Samodate modaniyam hi labdva. Samodate modaniyam hi labdva. Vivrutam sadma nachiketasam manye. Together. Etat srutva samparigruhya martyaha. Pravuhya dharmyam anumetamapya. Samodate modaniyam hi labdva. Vivrutam sadma nachiketasam manye. So etat is this, that is the self that I have been pointing out. So etat srutva, having heard about this, samparigruhya, and having clear understanding of what the teaching is. One is you have to hear from the teacher, that is Sravanam, and Mananam is required to make sure that you have no doubts about it, and that is indicated by samparigruhya, having a crystal clear understanding about this truth. No doubts whatsoever in your mind. So that is Sravanam and Manam is being pointed out. And Savushya dharmam says that dharmyam, that which can be discriminating, that means that which is disseminating what is nityam and anityam. Nitya, anitya, vastu, viveka, jnanam has to be used, and that is called prabhutya dharma, disseminating variations of, which is anum etam apya. Anum is, which is very subtle, etam apya, having gained this atma knowledge. So it's essentially having gained this knowledge of that through process of Sravana and Manana. He didn't point out Nididhyasana here. The question is why? Because it's talking about Nachiketas. So Nachiketas doesn't require Nididhyasanam. So we have three. Srotavyaha, Mantavyaha, Nididhyasitavyaha. So depending upon the Adhikari, we have Sravanam and Mananam. And depending upon that Adhikari, if he is highest Adhikari like Nachiketas, which is so mature, Sravana Manana is enough. But for people, Svetaketu, the teacher has to tell 9 times. I don't know if you know. Teacher has to teach that Tattvamasi, Svetaketu, Tattvamasi, because several doubts keep coming and he has to clear each doubt by doubt. After 9 times, he heard, he listened, he left. But for us, it's a lifelong process because our minds have not purified. We understood as Paroksha Jnanam, indirect knowledge only. Until that knowledge is, it's not I know Brahma, now I understood, I give talks and all that. But when it comes to somebody giving gali or I get upset. Why? because the setup has changed. Upset is only the setup has disturbed. And why? Because I depend on something other than myself, as I am only this and he is insulting me. So that kind, because the knowledge has not synced in, has not become one with me. Therefore, we need to have nididhyasanam. So we discussed that anyway. But that is here, he is only giving about these two. Having that heard and understood clearly, then you have gained that one. Samodati modaniyam hi labhya. So, saha modati. So he rejoiced, modaniyam halabhya, having attained most enjoyable thing, modaniyam, that which gives you the highest pleasure, highest happiness. Having gained that, he really revels in himself. Here he is modati, he is reveling in himself. Vivrutam sadma nachiketa sammanye. So this Vivrutam, wide open, sadma, this abode of Brahman, is Nachiketam Manye. To Nachiketa, I think it is well open to you. So I know you are going to gain this knowledge by listening to this teaching, and you are going to reach that which gives you the greatest happiness. So he evaluates the student and says, you are going to gain this knowledge because you are mature enough, and I am a good teacher also. So therefore we have a good teacher and a good student. And in fact, he's going to tell that he's a very good teacher also. So we have all the requirements and therefore the knowledge. So if the student doesn't gain, it's not the teacher's fault. Be understood? It's not the teacher's fault or Shastra's fault. It is the preparation of the student in terms of Chitta Suddhi. Now, put a break for this soliloquy of Yamadharmaraja. Nachiketa says, sir, don't keep on going praising all this. I don't need all these praises. Please teach me what I want. So he is going to put a break here. And the next sloka is one of the famous slokas, very well quoted and told by Nachiketas. Now you see the maturity of the Nachiketas itself is revealed in this sloka. So he says, I want to know that. And he describes what is that also. Okay, this is one of the famous slokas of the Kathopanishad. Anyatya dharmat, anyatra adharmat.
Anyatra dharmat, anyatra dharmat.
Anyatra asmat, kruta krutat.
Anyatra asmat, kruta krutat.
Anyatra bhutacha bhavacha. Anyatra bhutacha bhavacha. Yattat pasyati tat veda tat vada. Pasyati tat vada. Together. Anyatra dharma, anyatra adharmat, anyatra asmat, kruta kruta, anyatra bhutacha bhavacha, yattat pasyati tat vada. So here he describes, and this famous statement here, anyatra dharmat, anyatra adharmat. This truth that I want to know is different from all dharmas. Sarva dharman parijyacya, remember? So this truth is beyond all this and beyond adharma also. Beyond dharma and beyond adharma also. It is beyond all dvandvas, dvandvatitam. So that truth I want to know. Don't give me all this, glorifying this and all those things. I am not interested. You are praising me, but I am not really interested about all those glorifications. Please teach me, I want that. So he is becoming really, and anyatra asmat, that which is beyond the asmat, that which is beyond any asmat pratyam is this, beyond any this that I can point out. And because that means it is something that cannot be pointed. That is the absolute truth. And that is what I want to know. And kruta akrutat. So it is neither Kruta is here is cause, Akruta is the Kruta is effect, Akruta is cause. It's beyond the cause and effects. Beyond the cause and effects is cause-effect relationships, time-bound, right? One is the cause and the another effect. And therefore it is beyond even the time itself and beyond all the effects and beyond the causes. So this is the cause for this and Ishvara is cause for creation. Even beyond Ishvara also. So he is pointing out that which is beyond everything. And Anyatra bhuta cha bhavisya. It is beyond the past and beyond the future. So what is left here? Present. And what is the present? Remember? Present where past meets the future. And where the past is meeting the future is a thin line where the present itself is disappears. And what is there? Its presence is itself is there. That is, I am only the present, the one who is dividing. So that which is beyond the past and the future, yat tat pasyati, tat vada. That which pasyati, you see. So he knows that Yamadharmaraja knows this truth. That which you see means that you understand, because it's not something to see. That tat vada, please teach me that. Not any more of this. That we will take up next. So he's going to teach from next, this one on. All that is Upodghatam. Introduction to the teaching of that. Let's do Purnamada first. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudasyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.